Hey, this is Zeklog the Great. To have a meaningful discussion on just about any subject, you need to have some grasp of its teleology, the purpose of its existence. For instance, human memory does not exist merely so we can have a record, but so that we can repeat what worked and, especially, avoid repeating what results in disaster. Now, history is nothing but the collective memory of mankind and exists for the same reason, so we can repeat what produced good results and avoid what produced bad ones. Here's the problem. If we misunderstand what produced a particular result, our memories are useless, possibly even dangerous. People like to throw around the term Nazi today to accuse people they dislike of being Nazis. But it appears to me that most who invoke this term understand nothing about where the Nazis came from and why. In popular consciousness, as far as I can tell, the story is that in the 1930s, a bunch of Germans were really mean to Jewish people and started a war. What exactly are we supposed to learn from this? Don't be mean to Jews? Not a very wide applicability to that lesson. Maybe we need to re-examine this history, draw some different lessons. If you want to understand the Nazis and the beginning of World War II, you must understand the end of World War I. The two are inextricably linked. World War I was officially concluded with the Treaty of Versailles. At the time, Ferdinand Foch said, "This is not a peace. It is an armistice for 20 years. He was quite right, although perhaps for the wrong reasons. The start of World War II is clear and unambiguous. The start of World War I is argued about to this day whose fault it was, other than the assassin Gavril Princeps and his sandwich. Which nation made what move, which provoked which reaction, and which treaty was responsible for getting who roped into the entire catastrophe. It's a huge, complicated mess. The drafters of the Treaty of Versailles, however, were having none of that. There was no complexity, there was no nuance. The war was Germany's fault. Period. And the German nation had to agree to this and pay crippling reparations, which destroyed their economy. A generation of young German men grew up like this. Their nation shamed, told their culture was illegitimate, and artificially deprived of economic opportunity. And then a charismatic veteran of the Great War appeared. He told them it was not all their fault, and that they had been treated unjustly, and that their people had great potential which was being trampled. And all of this was true. And the young men who had been denigrated and demeaned ate it up. And so this veteran was also able to feed them hatred and rage. Does this justify their hatred and rage? Absolutely not. But it did help make it possible. Without the punitive conditions inflicted by the Versailles Treaty, that rage and bile would have found no audience. Now, in America today, young white men are told that they have no culture, no heritage. They are told that everything they have was stolen from others and that the only emotion they should feel about their ancestors is shame. Also, they are denied economic opportunity and advancement at every turn. Affirmative action and diversity quotas arbitrarily shut them out of jobs and education, although these days being shut out of college might be a benefit. The value of their labor is undercut by imported work, often illegal for blue-collar work or HB1 indentured servitude for more white-collar jobs like computer programming. And if they object to any of this, they are shouted down as racist. Do you want Nazis? Because this is how you get Nazis! So far, the reaction to this has largely been passive withdrawal. MGTOW, video games, pornography, and opioid addictions. But there's no guarantee this will continue. All it might take is one angry, charismatic leader. It doesn't matter how nice a dog is. If you kick it, shout at it, and starve it long enough, it will take a piece out of you when it gets a chance. As I said, the purpose of history is to learn, to not repeat mistakes. And if the only lesson we learn from Germany of the 1930s and 40s is don't try to wipe out the Jews, well, I don't think that has that wide an application. But if we zoom out a bit, take a larger view, we might find some lessons more applicable today. Or we could forget about all that and see what we get. Maybe it'll be sunshine and puppies.